this is my review of that time I got reincarnated as a slime. Okay, so in this episode, the Jura Tempest Federation actually forms a trading alliance with the Beast Kingdom of Euzurania. So, and also they then go to meet Gazelle Dwogo afterward regarding the whole sharpness incident. So it starts off where the last episode left off with Sophia and Shion fighting in an epic battle against one another, and they're evenly matched. At which point Shion decides to prepare her final attack, a full power magical bullet, which openly remarked by everybody in the media of the city will basically destroy everything if it's not contained. And Sophia seems to be encouraging it, so clearly she's not going to stop the fight anytime soon. So Aldous intervenes, pointing out that the whole thing was a test, and they passed with flying colors. And Sophia concurs, pointing out that they worked hard, that they actually did, she was initially testing them to see how tough they actually were, and upon finding out that they were indeed very tough, realizes that an insult on Rimuru or anybody else is an insult to the strength of the nation, and that they should be regarded as formidable allies as such. And everybody is moved and happy, and everybody's cheerful. And then Rimuru asks Shion on her thoughts on the matter, only to discover that Shion actually can't put the magical bullet away now that she's charged it up. And long story short, Rimuru has to help her. Basically, what he does is she has the bullet fired at him, so he can absorb it with his gluttony skill, which effectively just absorbs into his body, and that only further solidifies the alliance between the two nations. At which point they have a huge party to show the celebration of the two kingdoms coming together. Everybody's eating food and drinking, and at which point we found out some things about Sophia and Aldous. As it turns out, they are heavy drinkers. They don't indulge themselves very often. And even Aldous proclaims that after Rimuru asks her if it's a good idea to be just showing this kind of side of her in front of almost complete strangers, she merely responds that she only shows the side of herself, that the two of them only show the side of themselves when they're around people they trust. And Sophia in particular shapeshifts into a tiger for some reason. I think that's an ability she has. They never state that in the episode, but it's implied that that's an ability that they have. But in any case, eventually, Aldous downs several barrels of I believe it's apple cider. I want to say it's apple cider, but she downs like several barrels of it by herself, and remarks that seems to be all they had, and is a little disappointed that there wasn't more. At which point Rimuru explains that the reason they don't have more, as she puts it, or rather in her words, is that they didn't make enough, is because it's only harvested for special occasions, and even then they can only make so much of it because the apples have to grow back every time they do it, and they can't make a whole bunch, and they can't make a whole bunch of it. So, at which point Sophia and Aldous have a bit of an interesting idea for a trade agreement they can do. Basically the idea is that they're going to send Rimuru all the fruit he needs to make as much wine and brandy and whatever else he needs. But in turn, he has to send them some wines and stuff as well. He has to send a portion of the proceeds that they invest in back to the country so that they can indulge themselves with it. And Rimuru and Shuna are a little concerned as to how much it should be enough. So Shuna calls for Kobe, a kobold that Rimuru met at some point, apparently. I'm not entirely sure when that happened, but actually I don't think we ever saw Kobe before. I think it's just a guy. I think it's just this random kobold who just wandered into town and was made a merchant by Rimuru and became a named monster. But in any case, Rimuru has Kobe arrange everything, because while Kobe has many objections to the idea and is ultimately a bit flustered at the idea that he's now responsible for preparing trade agreements between two entire nations, something that he himself isn't even entirely sure he's supposed to be scheduled for, and he doesn't think he's qualified enough to do. As it turns out, no, he's actually very competent at his job, and Rimuru was right to trust him with it, because while he does have several objections, he ultimately is pretty good at the whole merchant thing. So Rimuru was right to put his trust in him. But in any case, the delegation leaves. At which point everybody proceeds to prepare to go off and to Castel Dwargo and go see him at Dwargon. At which point they all prepare several passenger cars. Basically, Rimuru is in one with all of the major people that he needs, mainly the dwarves, Shuna and Xion. Shuna's there because she's good with etiquette and she knows how to be able to actually mediate the whole thing. And the dwarves are there because of familiarity, because Rimuru wants to show some appreciation for all the work they've done up to this point, which is a lot. They basically helped revolutionize the whole blacksmithing industry within the Jera Tempest Federation, and they're solely responsible for several of the advancements that the kingdom has made. And then Xion is there because she found out Shuna was gonna go, and she kind of, for lack of a better word, she threw a bitch fit. She literally destroyed everything. And basically just left a huge massive destruction in her wake, and poor Rigord, he got left behind to deal with it. And also, I didn't bring this up now that I'm thinking about it, but prior to this, I didn't bring up this very crucial scene, but prior to this, Rigor and Benimaru come back along with the rest of the delegation. They just missed Yom in that regard because he left immediately before they come back. But basically the only thing that among many things, the main thing Rigor and Benimaru have to offer is that they explain how the country is run. Basically a lot of the citizens push a lot of the money into their delegation buildings and put it into a lot of their legal buildings, and they're fine with that. But they point out that they don't live as lavishly as Tempest does, but they also don't care. So they're fine. They're just fine with it. They put everything into the head of state for presentation reasons, and it shows because while it's not as prepared, they're happy to do. It's not as accommodating as Tempest is. They're proud. In fact, they don't really care. They're fine to live. They're fine to live the way that they do. They do that for presentation reasons, so that the kingdom looks as nice as it can be, and makes the buildings stand out a bit more. So that's the reason. And also Tempest actually apparently has some problems with agriculture, and as it turns out, according to Rigor, the King Euzurania actually has some experience in cultivation. They've been working on it. They've actually been working on actually doing some pretty good job at innovating the whole cultivation thing. They've been working hard at agriculture, and Rigor thinks that they could actually bring back some techniques from Euzurania in order to improve their own agricultural skills, since theirs is kind of lacking. And in any case, Rimuru is pleased with the report, and he's glad that everything worked out, and proceeds to go to Dwargon, as I said. He prepares to go to Dwargon, and along with the dwarves and Xion and Shuna. We've already established that. But as he's leaving, Benimaru actually stops him and tells him that he feels it would be perfectly acceptable if Rigor was actually left in charge of the delegation and he stepped down and stayed in the nation. And when Rimuru asks him what it's all about, he merely responds that Rigor is more than capable by himself, pointing out that he feels like if the nations aren't completely dangerous, that Rigor will probably be fine, and he probably doesn't need an armed escort. And also he lets it slip a little bit that he actually challenged Carrion to a fight, and Carrion just laughed at him. And Rimuru quickly realizes that he probably should have left Benimaru in the Tempest and not let him go off on his own with the delegation, because that was clearly a bad idea. But in any case, Rimuru gets back. Rimuru is on the road. Rimuru is on the road to Dwargon, and in the process, Shuna and Shion actually point out how well cleaned up the roads have been, pointing out that they were actually destroyed during the Charybdis attack, and they've since been cleaned up by the orcs. They've been cleaned. The orcs led by Geld have actually done a really good job cleaning up the streets. And also, when they get closer to Dwargon, they find out that they've actually been paving the road. So once the road is fully paved, it's taking them a long time since they're doing it all by hand. But basically, Geld's entire idea of operation is that he's building a road network for Rimuru to go to and from all the different capitals as he wishes, so that it's a nice smooth ride everywhere. He's making a nice cobblestone road for everybody to pass, and it's fine. And when Rimuru discovers what Geld is doing, he decides to reward him with several kegs of beer, and he and his brothers are very, very happy about that. But in any case, Rimuru arrives at the door, and everybody gets out. At which point, Garm has a reunion with Kaido, and Kaido is more than happy to see that Garm is doing well. He's excited that Garm is doing fine, and that he's been keeping busy and working hard. And also, there's a brief scene where he tries to find Rimuru because he's never seen Rimuru in his human form, and it takes several bits of prompting from Garm and the other dwarves that Rimuru is indeed the blue-haired human that's in front of them. So, and eventually it does finally sink in, and he realizes that he kind of made a fool of himself. But with that, Rimuru arrives at Dwargon and meets with Gazelle Dwargo, and we never actually get to see that meeting by the end of the episode. He walks through the bowels of the city. His presence is announced. They walk into the throne room, and that's it. Roll credits, except not really, because Clayman has actually been using a girl named Mizuria. I forget the actual spelling of her name, but basically he's been using a girl Mizuria, albeit against her will, as it's heavily implied, to actually gather intel on Rimuru so that Clayman can spy on him and actually find a way to take him out and destroy him. So, yeah, Clayman is scheming in the background of this episode. He's eventually going to be relevant again, and he's most likely going to try another scheme to actually try and destroy Rimuru and stop him from interfering with his plans, whatever they are. I'm not entirely sure what his plans are. It seems that he's just kind of trying to make as far as I know, his entire plan seems to be trying to create a all-powerful monster that he can control, and for the most part, Rimuru is just kind of shutting down all of his ideas, and just kind of defeating every single super monster that he sends his way. So, I'm not entirely sure what he's trying to do. I think he's trying to create a puppet demon lord, I believe. I'm pretty sure that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to create a puppet demon lord or a super monster or something that he can then control and basically become a true demon lord himself. So, because it's heavily implied that he's not actually a true demon lord. It's implied that he's not really a demon lord. He just thinks that he is, and he wants to be a true demon lord, and he's trying very hard to do that. But in any case, yeah, that's gonna do it. So this episode mostly just sets up that the kingdom of Euzurania and the Juro Tempest Federation are now in a alliance with one another, and they're working together to provide. So basically they're working together to provide agricultural stuff as well as other accommodations to one another. And also they're going to meet with Gazelle Dwargo to explain the whole Charybdis situation and try and better reaffirm their alliance again, because clearly Gazelle Dwargo is going to have some questions about the whole Charybdis incident, and it's implied that that's the main reason that Rimuru is meeting with him at all, because obviously the Charybdis situation is going to be a cause for concern for basically everybody nearby, and obviously Rimuru is going to need to smooth over some patches there. And also Clayman is trying to do some things in the background, but we don't really know what he's up to yet. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this review of That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. What'd you guys think? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below, or over on my Discord server, link in the description. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also be sure to follow me on Facebook and on Twitter in the description below. And also, be sure to check out my Patreon in the description below as well. It's only a couple bucks a month. It really helps me out, and you guys get access to a bunch of cool perks that I'm by the way saying thanks. So be sure to check this out in the description below as well. But in any case, thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace!